Talk about it with Franjez. Today's special guest is a piano master technician. Today's guest is David Avendaño.
Thank you, Francis.
Thank you for coming here.
Thank you for having me here. Really special, and I really appreciate it. Yeah.
Absolutely. How you doing today?
Good, man. Special day. We talk about this for a couple of weeks now, I guess.
Yeah.
And was waiting for today, so I'm very happy to be here.
You even got a haircut.
I did.
I feel honored.
If you saw me before, I had the long hair. Yeah, it's been a rough summer at work.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just gotta do stuff. Like today, I took it easy. It's like,
Nice.
I'm gonna take off, get ready for Franjez, and get a haircut, look a little cleaned up.
I like that. Thank you. You look very sharp.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. So let's start from the beginning. Where were you born?
I was born in Mexico City, 1982, and that's where it all started. Yeah.
That's where what started.
Where I was born. Yeah.
And the piano stuff, or you mean just your birth?
Yeah. Just my birth. No, the piano stuff came when I moved to New York.
Okay.
That was another whole other chapter in my life, which is still a very good chapter of my life. So I stuck with that.
Nice. Can you tell us a little bit about Mexico City?
Wow, man. It's haven't been there for 24 years. And I have very little to say other than when I move, we move because of the opportunity to do something else, to be able to figure out, do something else, because back there it was tough, it was rough, it was ugly, it was kind of sad. I always compare my time from Mexico when I moved to New York, from being in a black and white movie to moving to an HD movie.
Wow.
And that was a change for me. That was, love Mexico. For me, that's always going to be my home, obviously. But, that was going to be my home. I'm here for this long, and I saw something different that I didn't see in Mexico, and I'm like, let's just go for it, let's try it, and let's see what happens. And here we are,
Nice. Very nice. So when you got to New York, what'd you do when you got here? You went straight into working with pianos? Did you know this back then at all?
No, not at all. I only saw pianos on the movies, on the novelas, because you see also the novelas. No, when I get, it's so funny because I got here on a Saturday morning, and I had a job by Monday morning.
Wow.
And it was one day here, and then all of a sudden I had a job with this Portuguese paint company, which still they're my friends. I see them almost every day.
Nice.
Because they have their shop around where I live, and I see them picking up the people, and that's where I used to walk to get picked up. And, it's fun to see them, so it reminds me of that moment, because that was 23 years ago, 1999. Some people back there, you come here, try to look for a job, and, it's hard, especially if you don't speak the language, all of that, because that all came out later, at the beginning, zero English, just back then there was not a lot of Spanish people like we have today. I mean, right now we have a great community of Spanish people from all over, the world. And yeah, it was a little different, but since the moment I got to, not even New York, when I crossed the border back in California, that's when that change happened, because I remember coming from Tijuana, and I remember I have this picture in my head forever, man. I remember how everything back in Tijuana was, and everything back in Tijuana was dry, dirt.
It's like a desert.
Gray. Yeah. Kind of, but I don't think it's much like that. Like a desert. I think it's more of the society itself, the community itself, like how people have built a town or country, and then all of a sudden, I'm jumping a car. I'm in San Diego, California, and all of a sudden everything is green and flowers and blue and yellows, and I was like, and I remember putting my first step on the grass. I'm like, if there's gonna be a fucking chance, this is it. I mean, that's what I needed, man. That's what I wanted, you know.
I like that.
And I didn't know what I was gonna do, but I remember that day was like, here it is.
So when you say everything was brighter and greener and more yellow, you don't mean actually, right? It's more like a mindset type of thing?
No, it was actually.
Oh, actually,
the picture-
everything
the-
looked brighter.
The picture came different.
Wow.
It was from coming to that gray, black and white picture, no trees, trees with no leaves, parts with no grass, parts with no flower. It was coming from that world, and all of a sudden represented, like one step. I mean, I stepped out of the car and it was like that, green.
Wow.
I remember it was a big park that we, where we landed there. And I was like, damn, man, shit is great.
You never seen nothing like that?
No. Probably like in TV and stuff like that. Yeah.
Really? Nowhere you've been in Mexico had
I don't know. But, the way I was brought up, it was not.
not a lot of fields? It was more city?
But I grew up in Mexico City. But the side that I grew up is called Iztapalapa, which if you investigate about Iztapalapa, is probably not the best place to do vacations.
Okay.
But but yeah, no, it was somewhat just looking for that opportunity, chance, because I couldn't see anything there, man. I just couldn't.
So it was like a city more, where it's like buildings, not a lot of grass and trees?
No. I live on the very outside of the city, which is more like on the top of like a little mountain, and it was very new, like city, I guess, and it was just all the pavement, all the roads were like dirt. People will have to walk with buckets to get water from the truck that's delivering the water, 3, 4, 5 blocks away from you. Electricity, you have to hang some cables from the posts. It was very rugged, very, very difficult back then. It didn't feel good. Especially being a kid, just being a kid, man. It's I felt there was something else. And I knew it was not there. And I love Mexico. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, love Mexico. But that's just my own experience on how, how that happened. So
Yeah, it's just the part you were from wasn't
Correct.
the beautiful grass and
like the
right,
Mexico
I
City
get
that you see on the movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that. So I don't want to move too fast, but one of the first things I have down is the Hitchcock piano. Was that your introduction to pianos?
Yes. Frederick Albert Hitchcock. He's my mentor.
Your mentor.
He was my mentor. Wow, man, that's a nice pickup. Yeah, wow. Fred, for me, is a person that changed my life, saved my life, gave me life. Because if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't be here.
Wow.
Only a few people in the world is going to trust you, is going to accept you, is going to encourage you, and he's going to push you. And sometimes you don't even find that in your family, bro. And the fact that this guy was able to, he didn't speak Spanish, and I didn't speak English, back then. But the fact that he was willing to just push me, and then just believing, because that's a big part of anybody, Like you need somebody to believe in you, like, and sometimes you want to find that person, you can find that anywhere, And
Absolutely.
I was lucky that I fell into the shop, back in 1989. Yeah.
So you applied for a job there, or how did you meet him?
Oh, so my father was a janitor of 578 Neprohan Avenue, the Yoho building. He was the janitor of that building.
Okay.
He will come 5 in the morning, sweep the floors, clean the bathrooms, fix the windows, and different tenants will call him. Oh, can you fix this? Can you fix that? Can you fix that? And my father is a really great carpenter, so he had no problem, fixing stuff like that. And eventually, Fred looked at my father and told him, "Hey, why don't you come and to the shop?" Because my father was getting out of work around 2 or 3 p.m. Work some part time with us and learn a little bit. And my father took it. And back then, it was my father and I only. So I remember at that point I was going to high school we were going to high school here in Roosevelt High School, and after high school, I didn't want to go to the apartment because it just there's nobody in the apartment. So every day after high school, I would come to the shop where my father worked, just hang out with him, and me and my father had worked, forever, together. I don't see it as a work. I mean, we just do stuff together, and for me, being with him was just good enough. And eventually, I was there every day, every day, every day, and Fred pick up on that. And he's like, David, why don't you just come here 2 3 hours, do do clean up, organize here, do something, so you get paid. And but back then he didn't speak English, and he didn't speak Spanish, and I didn't speak English. So there was a person in the shop that speak both, languages, and he's the person that was translating to me, and he was translating back to him. And after that, I'll just pick up, where I really loved what he was doing, and eventually I knew there was not going to be a chance for me at the school, because for me school was going to be one of my way outs. I always thought, I go to school, that's going to be one of my ways out. And once I didn't see that, I felt a little sad, kind of done too.
You weren't doing well in high school?
I was, but back then there was no help the way help is nowadays for immigrants. Back then it was, you have no papers. The consular will tell you straight up, I cannot help you.
Wow.
So I remember my counselor, forgot her, Miss Santana, in Roosevelt High School. I came up to her office, and she said, "There's nothing I can do for you." I'm like, wow. And then I remember going back to the shop, and within that week, my head was like, damn, man, like if I'm not gonna do school, like what am I gonna do? Like for me, that was like probably like the first chance or opportunity. And then I remember looking at Fred, like I already had met him. I looked at him many times, and I just remember one day looking at him, and he was working right there, and I was like on my little table over here. And when I look at him, I say, if I can just be like him, if I can just talk like him, if I can just dress like him, and I always thought I put on my head all these things. I mean, you know what, that might be it. And that was the image, that was the image that I got. I'm like, because I really felt the need to grab from anything, like coming from not even getting a chance, or not seeing opportunities to a place where you can see this, you can see that. It's like you gotta grab from somewhere, because otherwise you're staying there. Like I didn't. I have this saying for all my life, since I'm a kid, and I always say, tomorrow is gonna be better. Tomorrow is gonna be better. Don't matter. Tomorrow is gonna be better. And once I put my mind into that was it. I mean, I locked up into the piano stuff, and it's been doing it for over 22, 23 years now. Very happy, very content, and very blessed to have met Frederick Hitchcock. Yeah,
My man, he sounds
you
like
for
a
that.
great person.
Yeah, he was.
Absolutely.
He really was. Yeah.
So, what was the process of you going from cleaning and just helping around to actually learning and working? Because I have no idea what even goes
Yeah.
into this.
Well, just the will, the will to do, because not nowadays. I mean, even before, um, I do believe that people want, but they don't do, and people want what they want. They want to be on the spot right away. They deserve that right away, and I never felt like I deserved it. I always deserve, like, I'm gonna prove it, and I'm gonna get it. And for me, it was a lot of learning, especially on the English part, because I said, I need to learn English. Like I put on my head, I need to learn English, and within 2 years, I was not fluent, but I was writing in English, I was reading in English, and then English became, something that I really, really like embraced, because for me it was very important. Like I didn't want to be that person, and I felt scared when I didn't speak English, man. I remember walking in Getty Square. Somebody will bump into me. They'll probably say sorry, and I don't understand. I didn't understand what they say. I was like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
And I remember I mumble. I remember just because no words will come out. But I wanted to say something, but no words came out, and I didn't like that feeling, man. I didn't like that feeling. I don't want to be like this, man. So the first part was the English part. So I committed to learn English. And then once we had a better communication, I started communicating with Fred. Um, it was much more easy because he was able to explain things to me. And sometimes when he wasn't, he will show me things. Like he will literally show me hand by hand, tool by tool, step by step, just so that I can pick up. And for me, it was the best because I always want to be like at that moment I wanted to be like him. And I said, well, if you want to be like him, you better catch up. You better catch up fast. And it always started with the will. Like I didn't mind sweeping the floor. I didn't mind cleaning here, cleaning there. I knew that if I do the right things, from what I call the foundation of it, then everything will be different later. And 3-4 months later into that, I didn't even went back to school after that. Like I just say, there's no reason for me to go to school. Like if I want to put my time, my effort, and my energy, like I want to do this, this is it. And at that a moment, he was one of the best piano technicians in the world.
In the
In the
world.
world. Back then, he was considered one of the best piano technicians in the world. He was friends with Pavarotti, with people from the Metropolitan Opera, the New York City Ballet. I mean, he was at the New York City Ballet Lincoln Center for over 40 years.
Wow.
I've been there since I started working for him, and I'm under contract for Lincoln Center, the School of American Ballet, for 10 years now.
Oh, wow.
So, it's paid off. All that work, all that willingness. That's what I call it, will. Like you gotta be willing to do the dirty work. You gotta be willing to do the small stuff. You gotta be willing to set up yourself. Because nobody's gonna set it up for you. Like, and then it picked up, man. I mean, then it was after 2-3 years. I think I was just enrolled with focusing on that, and then I remember my mentor say, "Hey, David, you're learning fast. Like I'm really happy for you. Like I have tried to train people. I remember he said, I tried to train people. People will take 3-5 years to do what you gain now, and you've been doing like 2-3 years." And all of a sudden, he gave me a whole responsibility for a section in the shop, and then he was limitless, man. Because the more I learned, the more he showed me. The more he showed me, the more he showed me, the more I got, the more I got, the more I got. And it got to the point where I was being at 19 years old with my very little English. I was a floor manager of the company.
My man, you really work.
Yeah, no, I was not playing around, man. And he
Wow.
he told he taught me how to pick up the phone. He told me how to write a contract. He told me how to write an email. He told me how to use a computer. And sometimes he'll be like, "Hey, David, somebody's calling. Pick up the phone." And I'll be like, "Damn it, why me?" Like I barely speak English. But just the fact that he put that trust, and then he was like I was more scared to make a mistake than he was. I think for him, I don't know, but now that I'm thinking right now, I think for him it was important for me to make a mistake.
He wanted you to learn. He cared about you
Oh
learning.
yeah, yeah, a lot, a lot. Until now, the company name is A Piano Shop, and he opened this company back in 2002, I believe. Before that, it was Hitchcock Piano, and that's when I met Fred. And the reason my company's name is A Piano Shop because I definitely have the need and the feel of carrying his legacy. I mean, he showed me all this stuff for a reason, and I wanted to do that. I wanted to be him. I wanted to do what he was doing. I wanted to speak how he was speaking. I want people to speak to me the way he spoke to me because he was very, very respectful, very genuine,
Yeah,
genuine.
genuine. Yeah.
Yeah, it was some like for me it was wow, man. Like I don't see a lot of people talking to other people. handling themselves the way he handles. People handle the same the way they handle. You can tell people respect him so much, and for me that was I was like, wow, man, like that's beautiful that somebody can carry themselves and be that person, and he was that person, you know.
Absolutely. That sounds incredible. Could you explain how pianos need repairs and what exactly happens and what do you do? Because I promise you, people that are watching are just like me. I don't know much about pianos. So what really happens internally? Like, what do you have to do? It's woodwork.
Well, I'm a piano restorer now. You know, piano restorer means that I can take a piano apart by myself and put it back together by myself. Usually, on a piano restoring company, you need a team of 6 to 8 people,
My man.
and I've trained myself through probably 6 masters, what I call. I still have 2 more to get down to the notch where I can call myself, a one-man piano restorer, because that's different. You know, it's different than, I mean, obviously I'm a piano tuner. I can tune a piano. I can fix a piano. I can fix a key. But that's very, very small comparing to the restoration process. I mean, the restoration process involves getting a piano from the late 1800s and then put it all back like new, and knowing exactly what to do, how to do, not just by putting it together, because I always think, and I know that there is people that can put it together, but putting something back together that's gonna have yourself into it is different, you know, because anybody can go to work and feel good, get a check and this, but they're not putting themselves into it. You know, when it's yours, when you work for it, it's different. You know, like
It's the love.
yeah, you know, I heard this. I heard this many times, and they say, you know, you you gotta find something that you love so much that you can't do it for free. And one of the things I always say is like the gift is to give. Like if you have a gift, you give. 'Cause that's my gift. That's where my gift comes from. You know. So anybody that has a piano, most of my clients are people that understand how I approach rather than the business side, because the business side of it is a business side of it for for everything. You know, and I'm not a businessman at all. You know, no. I'm an artisan.
Yeah.
And I love it in Spanish, because in Spanish it's called artesano, and artesano is two of my favorite words. Arte, sano,
Oh, sounds like healthy.
heal.
Heal. To heal.
Arte is artisan, yeah,
Yeah.
sane.
Wow, that's beautiful.
So for me, it's that, for me is the artisan part of it, which really requires yourself. You can, you got to give it all. Yeah.
I like that. Artisan. I never heard that breakdown. That's beautiful. Is restoring a piano similar to restoring a car, where the wood is the outside, which is the car's metal outside, and then the internal, the motor, is like all the keys and everything else?
You got it down. Yes, that's exactly what it is. It's funny because I like to compare piano restoration with car restoration, because that's an easy analogy to put together. Same thing. You need paint. You need a motor. And you need it to sound good.
Yeah. I like that. It just sound good.
Yeah.
Tell us about the piano lover T-shirt.
Oh, thank you. Oh, piano lover teacher is a great idea that I have with my team. And we're working towards making the company a brand, and with that idea, we're looking to certain different ways to put our brand out, specifically targeting pianists, people that love pianos, or what I call piano aficionados, because I'm not a pianist. I'm not a. I'm much more about obviously a piano restorer, but I know many people that love pianos that are not necessarily piano restorers, or piano lovers. Some people that's like growing up, listening to music, and they love pianos. So my piano lover shirt comes from this music quotation, which is PPP, And PPP in music means pianissimo. And pianissimo means when the pianist plays very slowly, very slow, very slow. And I have I don't know if it's a mantra or or a rule, and I have my own piece that I keep with myself, and that is, for whatever you do, you have to have a purpose. Why you're doing it? You have to have passion. You got to give it all, and then you have the most important and the most difficult, and you got to have patience. PPP. And that's where the piano lovers shirt comes, because when you put my piano shirt, you will see the logo of the company, which is a concert grand piano with that emoji heart. And in the back, you have the 3 Ps, which stand for purpose, passion, and patience. That's where that comes in.
I like that.
I'll get you. I'll get you one.
Yeah, I saw the T-shirt. It's really nice. I would appreciate it. Thank you. You ever heard of the 5 Ps?
The 5 Ps. No.
Proper preparation prevents poor performance.
Oh wow, I like that.
Yeah.
Proper preparation prevents poor performance. Wow, it's pretty good.
Right? Yeah, so 3 Ps. I just learned another one. That's a good one, though.
Three.
Because those, I agree, those are,
Yeah.
that's what creates that real passion. Not just something people want to do. You love to do it.
Correct. Yeah.
That's beautiful. The School of American Ballet. You were a technician there?
I am their piano technician. Been there currently. Yeah, I'm under
Nice.
contract there. And before I was under contract with Fred, I was going there with Fred because he was a piano technician for the New York City Ballet as well as the School of American Ballet. And after he passed away in 2014, I was left with the opportunity of continuing the contract at SAB, School of American Ballet. And, I'm still there. I'm fixing their pianos, tuning their pianos, doing the maintenance, big repairs, sometimes restorations, so...
Well, how does that work? Is it like 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week?
Oh, no, that's a contract. Yeah. I have a contract with them where I take care of pianos, all the pianos, once a month. And then every couple of months we do an assessment of the pianos, and then we prepare a budget for it, and then we do work based on that. It's a lot of paperwork and a lot of communication because it's a big corporation. But no, like I'm not there, 9 to 5, or
Yeah.
I'm actually there like sometimes in the evenings, sometimes very early at 5 in the morning, sometimes Saturdays and Sunday, because my job requires for the school to be as empty as possible. That means I cannot be there when the school is going on. Sometimes I am when we have emergencies, stuff like that. But mainly it's evenings, weekends. That's what it is.
And Squire piano. What's that?
Squire piano. Where you go, man?
Where I go?
Wow, that's a good one. Squire Piano, wow. Squire Piano was a company that I worked for in California back in 2003, I believe. I moved from New York to California, right about 1 year and a half, 2 years. And when I moved to California, I didn't want to do anything else that was not piano involved, And it was so hard because you can't just find this job in every city, And I remember looking for this job for like 2-3 months, and like nothing happened, man. Like nothing happened, and all of a sudden I just needed to work, so I was doing telemarketing.
Nice.
How
do we got to do?
Exactly, yeah. No, because for me, my goal was I need to find a piano a work that's piano related. And at some point, I just ran out of my savings and all that. You just need to do anything. You just need to pay.
So
the
you
stuff,
just went out there without a plan.
Yeah, have no plan. Never been there. Don't know anybody.
Well, what part of California?
That I got to Los Angeles, California, and the first place where I got it was Santa Ana, California. which is very Spanish. Like like back there, um, there was a very good a lot of Spanish people, a lot of Mexican people, especially in California. So it felt good. It felt good
Yeah, definitely.
to a point. So after 3 months of looking for a job, I found Squire Piano, and one day they asked me, we want to try you out. I went on a Saturday morning. They asked me, can you do this? Can you do that? I said, yeah, I can do that. I did what they asked me, and they said, okay, you're hired. And I stayed with them for 1 year and a half until Joe Hannerfeld called me from New York, and he was like, David, I'm opening a company. How much are you getting paid over there? Back then, I was getting $10 an hour, and I'm like making $10 an hour. She's like, come back to New York. I'll give you 20.
Double.
And that was low back then. It's still probably, I mean, super low. But yeah, I remember he telling me that and he said, your father is already on board. My father was already on board, and a couple of friends were already on board. He's like, we need somebody to do the keys. We need somebody to do the actions. He's like, why don't you come back? I said, hell yeah, we're back. We're going back to New York. So
Wow.
came back to New York. But my time at Esquire was, was very very fun because I did find the place to work, and I was very happy with the company, and I made good friends over there as well, and just part of the whole process journey. So I'm happy that you went back. That
Yeah.
not a lot of people would know about Square Piano, but yeah, that's shout outs to Square Piano in
Yeah,
California.
definitely. They gave you work out there. They saw that you were good. Yet your work spoke for itself.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
nice. They gave you a chance. That's awesome. So, what religion did you practice coming up?
Oh wow. Oh man, that's a hard one. So I was brought up Catholic, right? Catholic, and but at some point I lost sense of religion, God, because of my situation back there. Like I will question, God many times. Like why me? Like why us? Why here? Like isn't it love? Like why? And never heard back. You know, and back there, like I was probably like 10, 11 years old when I was thinking this stuff because my parents got divorced when I was 11, and that crushed everything up. Like that really did something in me, and then all of a sudden, I was not being religious or thinking about God or anything. I'm like, yo, you got to do this shit. You got to do it for yourself. You got to, yeah. And I think that came out of very ignorant, obviously because of my age, but also it was a lot of pain behind that. Like it was not just like, oh no, I don't believe. No, like I needed to be heard. Like I wanted to be heard. I wanted an answer. And I didn't feel that. So probably when a very young age, I was telling people I didn't believe in God. Because of my situation, because of my surroundings, because of
Why would he
how.
let me go through this?
Correct. Yeah, but mainly back then that was the question. Back then was like, man, like why? Like, and I back then I didn't understood, but now I understood, and I am not religious at all. I don't follow any church, but I do believe in God, and God is great, man. This is because of God, I'm here, we're here, and it's a whole different perspective from back then, because now it feels better, I'm like,
So
okay,
what did you understand now?
oh wow,
Because some people honestly still battle that. Like,
yeah,
why is this? Why, there's no God because He
exactly,
wouldn't allow this to happen to me. So
exactly.
what changed your mind?
Or nowadays, it's a very simple question. We wake up and we breathe. What else do we need?
You know, earlier you said one of your favorite quotes was something about tomorrow will be better. And it's like what you're saying now is like the real answer is now. Not tomorrow's gonna be better. It's no, we're
Now.
breathing right now.
Correct. Correct. Now is the present.
Yeah.
Now is the gift.
So
Yes.
that quote, you should retire that quote. Your new quote should be, "We're breathing right
Appreciate it, man.
now."
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, we are bringing. And you know, and
Forget about tomorrow.
yeah,
Right now.
and I think that is the main point because I don't mean go and pray, go and go to church, but it is very personal, man. Like it's magical to wake up, open your eyes. It's magical to see, some people are not going to wake up tomorrow, man. Some people cannot see. Some people cannot see, and when you start being grateful for that now, for that you at that moment, it's like, yo, I'm alive, man.
That's all you need.
I'm alive. I'm like, why? Like, thank you, God. Like, whatever that means for anybody. Like, I'm not a person that, that talks about religion or anything. I really appreciate religion in many aspects. I have friends that if it wasn't because of religion, they probably have killed themselves already. So
Absolutely.
I have nothing to I have nothing bad to say about religion or church or anything like that. In the contrary, some people really need that. Some people need that help. Some people need that
It's that
that help.
structure. It's like
Yeah,
a structure of life, letting you know what's right and wrong, the right way to think, the right way to be. I agree 100%. Religion, if used the right way, it is positive.
yeah.
So
True.
all for it. I'm all for it. If people are very religious and it helped you, it's great. It's perfect.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. Because you never know who actually needs them. I mean,
Exactly.
like in everything else. I mean, you have two sides to a coin. There's the right people for that, sorry, and the wrong people for that. And something about the right people that actually need is like, I see in the right people, and I'm very happy that they are religious, because I know if it wasn't because of religion, they'll break down, man. It would be like a tragedy and stuff. And I'm so happy for them. So happy for the religion.
Yeah,
And coming back to God, that is God.
it is.
It doesn't mean mine or yours or hers or theirs. It's our God, whatever that is for anybody. Because
Absolutely. Absolutely. What are three things you need to be happy?
three things I need to be happy. Hmm. Three things I need to be happy. Let me see. Okay, three things that I need to be happy. My kids. My kids give me the most happiness. I need my kids. I need my fucking kids. I love my kids. I go home and my little girl comes out and hugs me, and oh man. Sometimes I'm having a bad day. I go and pick him up from school. Just like, I know that when like, it doesn't matter what's going on in the shop outside. Before I get to that door, I take everything off. In a literal way. I take everything off, and I'm like, I'm home. I'm dad now, and then I go in being in that, and I go in receiving all that love. So one of the main things would be with my kids, my family. Pianos, definitely need pianos to be happy, and very personal. I think being creative is something that makes me very happy, because it puts you on a spot where it's always pushing you. Like if you're like, I saw your studio. I mean, you're very creative,
Thank you very
very,
much.
very, very, very creative. And for me, that tells a lot about a person.
Yeah,
Like not having to wait for this, not having to wait for that, but you create it, you do it. That's God stuff. Creation, create.
absolutely.
So for me, creativity is important, and to see people being creative in their own way, oh my God, that's love that. I like to meet you. I like to meet you, like, because it's creation. It's like different than just working or just it really puts your mind at ease, and it's such a personal fulfill to just be a creative person, that I think we all need to be creative, in our own right, in our own way. You don't have to be a painter to be creative.
Do you have room to be creative in your industry?
Uh, yes,
In what sense? Because it's like when you customize a piano, maybe, I'm assuming. Because besides that, when you're restoring, you're just bringing it back to as new
Correct.
looking and sounding as possible, right?
Well, pianos nowadays don't give me a lot of chance to be creative, specifically because I know the work. I know exactly what I need to do. So we need to do this, we need to do that. Boom, 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 boom. It's very straightforward now. After you know your craft, it's very straightforward. It's not very creative, really. The creative part of it for me now will be the branding part. The branding part of it, the creative part will be the marketing. The creative part will be like the business side because, like I said, I'm not a businessman. But that always put something on my shoulders that push me. That as much as I don't like to do the business or the branding, all this, like we got to do it because it keeps you sharp, it keeps you push, and it makes you create. And you don't know, like that PPP shirt, the piano lover shirt.
Yeah.
I was in the shop, and all of a sudden I was thinking, I don't know, I remember what I was thinking, and I'm like, I got it. And then I grab a Sharpie, I, right on my table. I started doing the design. I need to have this. I need to have this, and I did like 3 different designs. And next day, Giovanna got to the shop, and I said, Giovanna, can we put this on the computer? Like we need to have this on a shirt. She's like, yeah, I can do that. And Giovanna went to the computer, did her work. We went to like Vista Print just to get a trial of the shirt, and and that was a very creative point. And towards the branding of it, there's a lot of creation. But that's on the business side. The other part of creativity, coming back to if this type of work gives me room for creativity, and the answer is yes. Because when I was 28 years old, I made a decision to follow up piano for my piano passion. I had I could have gone for being an author because I've been writing for 30 years now. I could have gone for being a piano technician, which I am now. And one that's very far behind those two options is fashion design. Because back then I loved fashion. I mean, I still love fashion. I mean, I'm not going to go and do fashion design right now. But back then, those were my 3 options. And I knew pianos will give me chance to create. Author would not give to create um, poetry, which is my writing style, and to create fashion, maybe even someday. And obviously, a T-shirt is not a fashion, but just it's there now. So I also knew that if I was gonna pursue my writing career, it was not gonna give me pianos. It was not gonna give me, or it might have given me some type of fashion too. But I knew with pianos I'll have the chance of do 3 at the same time. And I've been writing for 30 years. Back in 2004, 2010, I was at it with poetry. But I did the New York Poets Cafe, I did Cornelia Street Cafe, I did La Décima Musa in Chicago, I did Congenio in Las Vegas, and I did, I forgot the name of the place in California, which I performed to because I was really out for performing poetry. And I have a poetry reading on Monday
Oh, wow.
in
Very nice.
Dobbs Ferry, Harpers.
Oh, I know the place. I did a food review there.
Oh, great! That's
Yeah,
it's
I
an
see the
amazing place.
flyers for like every other Monday they do poetry.
They do. So I'm gonna be guest poet this coming Monday, and so definitely has pianos has given me a chance. And actually, as a matter of fact, this year has been the year that I've been the most creative, not just being in the piano industry, but creative on my own part. Where I partnered with Yonkers Art and the city of Yonkers to do a mural with a piano, and it was a great collaboration. And then I've been doing poetry readings here and there all this year, and all of a sudden I have this guest presentation, and I have not performed for the past 15 years, and this is gonna be like my first little performance that I'm gonna be making. So I'm looking forward to to do that because poetry is life for me too. It's poetry and reading is something that taught me a lot of things that I wouldn't have learned from my surroundings. Sometimes I do encourage everybody to go and read a book, man.
Yeah, any books you recommend? At least a good one, two.
Um, but I guess it depends, like what you're looking for, because I read different types of material. Um, Personal, like obviously, I always have like the books that inspire me. I always like to find authors that have come from almost like zero, and then all of a sudden, these guys are like they own themselves. So one of my favorite authors is David Goggins, and David Goggins is
I read his book.
he's a fucking crazy guy, and and sometimes I don't feel like I'm not tough at all. Like I'm not a strong person, But as far as mental, reading David Goggins gave me a lot of insight of how to just find my self strength through my mind, through my work, and how to push because, until now, not just the books, but I listen to a lot of podcasts too, and I love to listen to David Goggins. So, you know, it never ends. Once you start, it never ends. Once you start, you got to put that suit on every freaking day because you got to do it again, and you got to do it again, and you got to do it again. Because if one day you stop, it's and you can't stop. So he has this book. It's called "Can't Hurt Me." I don't know if that's the one you read.
I think so. I didn't know he had multiple books actually. Let me say
Yeah,
that.
"Can't Hurt Me" is probably one of my favorite books. I only read that not so long ago. Probably like 2 years ago when I read it the first time. And then I love poetry, so I always go for my poetry.
Can't Hurt
Poetry.
Me. That's the one.
Yeah.
It was like a memoir about his life.
Yeah. Oh, very very crazy.
Incredible.
I read this book and then I bought the audiobook version where he actually reads the book, and then in between the reading,
That's how I read it, the audiobook.
and then in the reading he has this conversation with a person that's
Yeah.
explaining throughout his life and the chapter, and I was like, damn, bro, like
Great.
his life is like, man, what am I how do you call it? Why am I feeling
Complaining?
bad?
Oh.
Complaining, exactly. Complaining, feeling bad. Like like some people get it worse and they get it better.
Yeah.
And so for me, those type of books, especially something like that, will always be like on my list. You will see my shelf on David Goggins, Robin Sharma, a lot of people that are more like inspired, like. But then I also have my books that don't give me any type of inspiration, but give me some type of what I call pleasure. Um, Poetry, man. Poetry, 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 poetry. Charles Bukowski, my favorite author for poetry. And if you don't know it, go and check Bukowski. And something funny about Charles Bukowski is that he was a writer, but and he wrote most of his poetry. He wrote while listening to classical music. So I'm very into classical music as well. And I was like, damn, man, how this guy is writing this stuff with this type of music? And he was an alcoholic, man. I mean, he will drink and write and listen to music, drink and write and listen to music. So I don't think that's very inspirational at all. But it's such a fun reading, man. I mean, it's such a great author, American author too. And then philosophy, man. I found philosophy. When I found philosophy, same. You go and read Schopenhauer. You go and read William Blake. You go and read Jean Paul Sartre. You go and read, some of the great minds there. That help you, that tells you, that put something on your head that might activate something else for you. So philosophy is also one of my best genres of book to select. And for philosophy, I'll go for Arthur Schopenhauer, which is a great German philosopher.
Yeah, I gotta look him up. I never heard of that one. I read some philosophy too, but never heard those authors.
What you ready for?
Seneca and
Okay.
what's this guy that Ryan Holiday?
Seneca is stoic, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Stoic.
yeah.
Yeah, Ryan Holiday, and he's like the newer version. He's like trying to break down those Roman
You ever read
philosophers.
Marcus Aurelius?
No, but this guy Ryan Holiday, he takes Marcus Aurelius, he takes Seneca, he takes a bunch of the good known philosophers, and he breaks down in this book 365 of them because
Oh wow,
it's the Daily Stoic Ryan Holiday wrote, and it's 365 passages from these great philosophers, and he breaks them down. It's a really good book.
that's amazing. Yeah,
Yeah. So I'm definitely getting into it, but I got to look those authors up that you mentioned right now. Definitely. We're nearing the end of the podcast. If you could let the people know where they could find you, if you have anything coming up that you want them to tune into, and any last advice you want to leave the people.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
No?
Yeah.
Guys, my name is David Avendaño. I run a piano shop, and you can find us on Instagram mostly. A piano shop. Also, my artistic page is Opio, which is my artistic name, and that's OPIO09. And you can find a lot of my creative side on that part, and eventually you will see dates because I'm looking forward to do a lot of more presentations with poetry. So you can find me there.
Nice. Any last advice you want to leave the people with?
I don't know about advice, man. I always say it. Nobody should tell you what you should. Like I don't. I don't want people to come to me and say, "Hey, you should do this, you should do that." No, no, no. Everybody knows what they should, And I'm, not, and if I might see something for you that I think, "Oh, you should do this, you should," that, but that's not help. That's coming out of the bad way I see you. So you should do this. No, no. You should do what you love. You should do what makes you feel good, and you should close your eyes, close your close your ears, close your eyes, and then just go for it, man. If it's true, you'll get it.
I
Go for it.
like that.
Go for it.
Go for it. There you go. I like that. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Peace and love.